So this comment comes from my YouTube channel under the video Montero and the Corinthian Church. This person says, definitely a solid video in rebuking involving sexual immorality with the church. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. But how is the Catholic Church any more corrupt than the Protestant Church? That's a fair question. Firstly, bro, I didn't say that it was more corrupt than the Protestant Church. I never said that. It might be an assumption you're jumping to, but I never said that. I just simply said that we saw this type of degeneracy within the Catholic Church. And that's not to say that there's not degeneracy going on in the Protestant Church. We know that it is. Now, granted, I didn't really go into it in depth in that particular video, but I was referring to the age of the pornocracy of the church during the 800s, the 900s, you know what I'm saying, like the 9th and 10th century. Popes were getting down with the get down, you know what I'm saying? It was a wild time, and they were allowing these harlots, these 304s, these scallywags to get involved with church politics and start making decisions. And when I say that these were 304s, I mean in every sense of the word. It was treacherous. It was not a good time, and any Catholic historian will be open and honest about that. It was not a good time for the Catholic Church. One could even compare it to the Thyatiran Church with that woman Jezebel in the book of Revelation. And we're kind of seeing it again in a different way even today. If you take what Pope Francis did not too long ago, you know what I'm saying, in blessing or making it okay for parishes to bless same-sex unions. I mean, that wouldn't be the only thing he's done now, but Pope Francis himself goes against every single pope that has ever been in Roman Catholic history. I mean, it's just not a good time to be a Roman Catholic right now, because you got a guy who goes against everything that every pope has believed in throughout the seat of Peter, whatever you want to call it. And here's the problem: Roman Catholics aren't allowed to denounce the pope. What can you say, right? He's the Pope. He's the Holy Father, right? Y'all can't speak against him. See, that's something that Protestants don't have to deal with. Yes, we know that there's degeneracy, and we speak against such things. We don't accept such things. But there are some that do. And unfortunately, the ones with the voice are the ones that people see. And therefore, people like the Muslims, they think, oh, how could these... See, that's the problem with Christians. They just let this stuff happen in the church. No, we don't. No, we don't. I mean, the church, that would not fly at the church that I go to. That would not fly at my church. And I know some other churches that aren't like mine that wouldn't let that fly. So my statement wasn't about how much worse the Catholic Church is than the Protestant Church. It wasn't about that at all. I was simply making a true statement about what we have seen from the Catholic Church throughout history. And you got to admit, with the pornocracy specifically, that happened before there was a Protestantism. That is very much a part of church history. So we've got to deal with that. So anyways, thank you for your comment and thank you for your view. And I hope what I said makes more sense. I hope there's more clarity as to what my intentions were, what I meant when I said what I said. You know, I'm definitely not a friend to the Catholic Church, nor am I a friend to the Orthodox Church. But I do respect church history, and I do respect the role that each of these churches have played. And even though there's a lot of problems, even in Protestantism, you know, there's a lot of things that we just would not have today if it wasn't for those who came before us. So in that aspect, I do. I love church history, and I respect church history, and I look at it objectively and say, what can we learn from it, and how can we grow from it, from the things that happened in the past that brought us to where we are today. There were some things that were done well. There were a lot of things that weren't. So how do we take the good and reject the bad so we don't repeat history? Deuces.